Hi foodies, welcome to my kitchen. This is Jenny here from Jenny's Walk. So foodies, I want to give you a little information and guide you through soaking your fruits for the Christmas. Now what I do, I don't soak fruits this year because I always have my fruits like 2 years ahead of time. So at the end of the season, that's when I will go and soak fruits now and date that 2020, which will be used in 2021, which will be used into 22, 23 and onwards. So my dear foodies, is very simple. Here I have fruits what I would use. In here I have this is sultanas or raisins. I have some currants. This is prunes, peaches, cranberries, tutti frutti, or if you could get the orange rind or orange rind, sorry, you could use that, the diced one. Cherries. I do not put my cherries in the fermentation. So how I ferment my fruits, if I also get like papaya, there's crystal ginger. When I go out there and I see so many other different fruits, it doesn't matter. You could go, let your imagination run wild. Whatever fruits that you see, they're candied fruits, that is, not fresh fruits. Candied fruits is a fruits that is already prepared, is dehydrated, and it is in syrup. This is what you're going to be using for your fruit cake. So you could use any of those fruits. What I will do, the ones in the bulk packaging like this is what we will call bulk packaging, where it is done at the proprietor. He will buy them in big bags, like 100 pounds or 50-pound bags, and he will start packaging them in smaller amount for resale value. So for the resale like this, what I will do, I would usually give it a gentle rinse, which is most of the time you will find the golden raisins, the sultanas, and this currants. You will find these in bulk. So that I will flush them really nicely and give them a nice pat dry with paper towel before I start having them prepared for fermentation. Hence the reason, long ago in the summertime when I used to go to school, I used to work at the supermarket and I see what goes on in there. And I know foodies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No need to explain. So let's move on. So what we would do, I will try to chop all the fruits at about the same size. So like the tutti frutti size, this is fine. The currants is fine. The raisin is fine. I will chop like the prunes and these big ones and give them a nice rough chop. Even the cranberries, give it a rough chop. Put them into your food processor and give it a good zap, 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 zap. Take all of them out with your ginger and everything. That is a crystal ginger, not fresh ginger. They have candied ginger out there selling. If you go and take a look in the Korean stores, you will find them with the papaya, even mango I got. And I will chop them really nicely and zap them in the food processor. Put them in a very big vessel, like a big basin that you would have, a stainless steel. And into that now, I would add cinnamon powder. Give it a good dash of cinnamon powder. Really fluff it up nicely. And some clove, not too much of the clove because clove is very strong. And ginger powder. Give it a good mix like that and you will put it into your jar. Now this is for the alcoholic people who consume the alcohol. That's the fruitcake with your alcohol. And you give that a good mix in there. So for the fermentation now, what is fermentation? Fermentation now is where you're going to add the wine or the liquor, the alcohol, where it will break all the fruits down and get smaller. I do not boil my fruits, as you can see. I ferment them. So for fermentation, what we all know is like the red label wine. I'm sure you all heard about that. That's a Jamaican wine from Ray and Nephew. Or Fernandez cherry brandy, Coraya's Charlie's red Spanish wine. That's a #1 also. Those are 3 #1 wines that if you could get your hands on, you could use those together with spice rum. We have lots of spice rum out there. I could name some for you, like Royal Oak Black Label Rum, Captain Morgan Spice Rum, Angostura Gold Rum from the House of Angostura in that beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. There's also some Forest Park Puncheon Rum, which is an overproof, and Ray and Nephew, which is an overproof. Now, if you wish to use those overproof, fine. I don't. It's too strong. There's also in the islands of Grenada, there's also the Six Saints. It's a lovely spice rum. When I travel on the cruise, I will pick them up. Captain Morgan have one. Wild Geese. Bacardi has a lovely spice rum too. Commander Jones, Calypso, Duppy Share. That's another spice rum. So if you travel the islands, you know, you always could bring back a few bottles of wine. Just always remember your fruits is coming up. 1 or 2 bottles is fine. Or if you go to those old liquor stores, I'll do a video on the liquor stores and see what wines we have in there that you could use. Spice wine is best because it has that spice going on, and this is what our fruits is about, to ferment it with the spices. Or you could just use a regular dark rum. And Bacardi has dark rum, Black Label rum, yeah, a white oak. I think white oak comes in a red rum also. They're all sugarcane rums. Ferment them, put them in there. So what I will do now, after I get all this together, chop them, spice them up, I will put them in my bottle. So here I want to show to you my bottles of, let me get some space in here, foodies. A lovely glass bottle. I like the glass bottle. This is a mayo bottle actually that I, there you go. No, pickle bottle, kosher dill pickles is glass. The mayo comes in glass also. You could use that. This is another one here. Somebody, I think I bought this in the dollar store. So what I will do, I will pop them in here. Mix all that fruits really nicely and fill them in here. So all the fruits is all incorporated and mix nicely together. And I will pop them in here. So in here, as you can see, I'm going to give it a good mix. Every 3 months, I will go and dig into it and give it a good turn up, move up just like this. And I will add more rum or wine, whatever it needs. So, wow, this is so intoxicating. So I give this a good little move. I want to take some out and show to you what it looked like. So the fermentation for 2 years, I think this is 2 years. Let me check the cover. I always date it. Island Spice Rum 2020. So this was an Island Spice Rum that I used in here with a cherry brandy. I always put a cherry brandy, or this, if I get it, that is. This one, I use the Taylor Port. You see this, my dear foodies? The cream sherry, if I don't get the cherry brandy or the ones that I just named there for your old cask wine and all of that, I will always use that. So you see the fermentation breaks up the fruit even more. It don't swell and get plump up. When it's whole, it will get swollen and plumped up because it's dehydrated fruits, and you add liquor in there or fluids, you know, it will get like that. So this is how my fruit will look in here, all nice. And what I will do, I will also put in like 5 or 6 cinnamon stick. I want to fish this cinnamon stick, but it doesn't seem to want to come out for you to see it, my dear foodies. Come on, you can't be so bad with me. I want to show foodies what you look like. So I always put 6. You have to be careful when you're baking. You don't want this cinnamon stick to get in your guest's throat. So that's why you do not use things like clove and stuff like that to put it into fermentation. Only this big cinnamon stick will be in there. That's the only fruit, only spice I will put into that. This is a 2020, and I want to show to you my other one. Smells divine in here. So this one is Ray and Nephew spice rum and wine, and this is saying December 10th 2019. So this is 2019. There you go. So let's take a look. Also dates, if you have dates, you could put your dates in. So this one, I'm now opening it for the season, so clearly this needs some more wine. So seeing that I'm showing it to you right now, let me take some out so you could see what it looked like. You see that, dear foodies? And it smells lovely. See how dry this one is? So she needs some more wine, because as time goes by and fermentation taking place, it starts to break down. So this is what I will do. I will pour in some more wine in there, which is cream sherry. I didn't go shopping yet to get wine out there, because here in the US, I'm in NYC, it's a seasonable thing to get those wine from the island. Carayas. I never seen Carayas over here. I did manage to see Fernandez cherry brandy, and that red label is from Jamaica. That is from Ray and Nephew. I did see that a lot. Anyway, so this is what it would look like. I will just put the lid on and continue with my segment here. Smells lovely. So that is what you're going to do. So what you will do with this, my dear foodies, when you prepare it like this, you give it a nice tight, or if you have like the like these bags, you give it a nice tight cover like that, just like so, and you put it in your pantry in the back, in the dark, all the way to the back, and then your stuff is in front. So this will remain in the back, but you know, you put your little notes, so you know every 3 months to go in and check and see what's going on with your fermented fruits. Now, all said and done there for my fermented fruits for my foodies who partake in the liquor. Now, what about my foodies who don't? Foodies, I have a surprise for you. Don't worry about it. You too are going to be enjoying these lovely fruits. So for my foodies who don't partake, what you're going to be doing is the same thing. We're going to prepare all our fruits. I don't put the cherries. If you wish to put the cherries, fine. What I will do, I will chop the cherries and chop all of these again. Give it a good little mix, as you will see in my video, and I will put it on the top of the cake. Or you could put in a layer of the cake, butter, fruits, then butter again, and fruits. If you want a really chunky, fruity black cake, you could do it like that. So follow my recipe there and you will see how to do it. So now for my foodies who don't partake in the rum, very simple. My dear foodies, there's lots of wines out there that is non-alcoholic wine. I usually like what is non-alcohol wine anyways? Basically, it's vacuum distilled, where it is put on the heat and it burn off all the alcohol. So I will usually use 2 of them. There's one by the name of Ariel. It's a full-bodied red wine. It's dry and has a tarty taste to it. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's this particular Ariel wine is aged in oak. So you have things like blackcurrant, cherry, and blueberry, and chocolate. We have those notes you will get in that wine. So you could take a look into that wine and see on Amazon if you could get it. It's a lovely wine. Another one is a Chateau Diane Zero. It's a red wine. It's a lovely one. It's like $12 a bottle. That has like cherries, red fruits, plum, cola, and some sweet tea in that wine. It's really nice. Now, a lot of you will say we're going to use the Manischewitz wine. Foodies, Manischewitz wine is a kosher wine. It is not a non-alcoholic wine. Actually, Manischewitz is 11% by volume. It's just a red blended grape wine. No fruits or anything else in that. That is basically what it is. Some of you may use grape juice. The difference with grape juice and red wine is the presence of the yeast, because you know the yeast fermentation take place in that by using the yeast, you know. So what I do for people, for my foodies out there, because I have a couple high priests, Hindu high priests, Muslim high priests, a lot of Muslim friends from, you know, Dubai and the UAE and those places who look at my cooking, and they don't partake at all, as you know, the Muslim community, in alcohol and its byproduct, also pork. So what we will be using is black tea or green tea. So here I have tea, any tea bag. This is green tea. This is black tea. Tetley tea has a lovely black tea. You could get that black tea. Here I have some black tea from Dubai. It is sold loose. If you could get even India, and in Indian stores here in NYC, you will get the loose black tea. Just take your black tea and you're going to brew your black tea with these spices: cinnamon, cardamom, star anise. You could grate some of this or crack a couple pieces of it and drop it in there. Nutmeg, and this is mace. You boil it up really nicely, but you're only going to get that tea from it, and you're going to use only the bark, because the bark is very big that you could fish out. I forget to mention clove, so you put some clove also in it, and you boil it and you keep it. Or you can make one of this little pouch and put all these little stuff in here and the bark by itself, because this is the only thing is going to remain for you to soak overnight or 2-3 weeks or whatever, because it's easy to fish out. These are small ones. You know, it's not going to be a nice situation if these little things get into your cake and get into your guest's mouth. Believe me, it's not going to be nice. So it's either you do this or you boil all of them and strain that black tea off, and then use the liquid from the black tea. Go ahead with the fruits the same way, chop it up and soak it in that black tea. And you use some bay leaf I have here. You could add the bay leaf to it. And you're going to put in the same thing again, your spices, your powdered spices, and what else? That's about it. Your powdered spices, and you mix it really nicely. Chop your fruits and you put it in there. And now the day you could process them. The day that you're ready to bake your cake, you take it out. Now, black tea will not go bad and leave that white film over it. It would not go bad. It could stay on the countertop, or you could also put it in the refrigerator. Get a nice glass bottle and you could put it in there, let it ferment. And it's going to give you a nice color because of the black going on in there. Or you could also use molasses. I use molasses, as you see in my vids, to get that black color. If you want a golden cake, no problem. You don't add any of the black. There's also another color agent, burnt sugar. I don't know how to do it. And to be honest, I don't like burnt sugar, so I don't use it at all. So I prefer to go with the molasses. It's sugarcane based, and I use that in to get the coloring agent. So here, foodies, I have sorrel. This is sorrel 2019. So I made some sorrel drink, and you know the pulp, it's a petal, it's a flowers, it's a petal. After I made the sorrel drink, I had all this the dregs, the petals left there. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I tasted it, it still tastes really nicely, but there's no more sorrels coming out of it. So I went ahead and I talked to one of my chef in a Trinidad food group. Sheldon, shout out to you, Mr. Sheldon C. Prasad from La Romaine, Trinidad, southern part of the country. And he advised me how to do the sorrel. So I blended the sorrel. I add sugar to it. That's the one after we make the sorrel punch. And I put it in to ferment with the same red wine or cream sherry and some spice rum, and I have it there. So I'm going to make another cake. You see, it's all done. I didn't do any yet for the season. So I'm going to make a lovely sorrel cake, a sorrel fruit cake or a plain sorrel cake. It's really big and nice for the Christmas, because in the Caribbean islands, you know, sorrel is at the back of everybody's backyard. So you could get it there, or your neighbor will bring you a big bowl. You could make some. However, over here in the US, I get the dehydrated one, the dry one, which is really good. I have no problem with it, so I will use it. So my dear foodies, that is how you prepare your fruits for fermentation. I do not boil it at all. Boiling the fruits, oh boy, it is just something I will not recommend. You may think that using the Manischewitz wine, or you use your grape juice and you boil this fruit, it's still going to go bad. You cannot let it sit out. However, the fruit say that is fermented, it will stay longer because it have the alcohol. But if you're non-alcoholic, please, when you boil fruits for alcohol, you're boiling the alcohol out of it. You're not really getting all that lovely taste, and you're losing a lot. If you try the fruits like this my way, and then you try the one you do, you will taste a big difference in the fruits in that cake. Don't boil it. Let it sit there. Use the green tea. Boil the green tea, but you're not boiling your fruits. You pour, let it cool, and then you pour it into your chopped prepared fruits that you zap in the food processor and let it sit there. Any questions, you could always put in the comment below, or you could inbox me, message me. I'm always here to answer your questions and making your cakes. I do have an upcoming video there, eggless cake, rumless fruit cake. You could take a look at that, see how it goes. And any ideas, let me know. Throw it out there for me. So happy cooking from Jenny's Walk. Thank you for joining me, and please share your Christmas fruitcake pics. I would love to see them. So thank you for joining me. From my kitchen to your kitchen. Happy cooking.